the next step for us? Yeah, you can't shut the store down. I understand that. But is it just saying you're going to give them diversity training and then when we stop paying attention, you go back to your normal? Or do you actually do that? Do you actually start making strides to not appear as if you are a part of the good old boy network and your intent is to give those, and I don't say people of color, I just say black people, and that takes care of everybody who's not white, but are you going to still show disparate treatment to us because you want our money? Or are you really, honestly, going to make a positive change,
Yeah, that's one of the things that people have to ask is what kind of positive change is going to be made. As a matter of fact, that was one of the other articles that I saw in the day. Speaking of folks that needed amendment, because if it had not been for them, a lot of the color lines would not have been broken. But you do know that this weekend was the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking Major League Baseball's color barrier with the Brooklyn Dodgers. So actually his daughter spoke at one of the games earlier today, says Jackie Robinson's daughter thinks black baseball players are more reluctant to speak publicly against racial issues than their NFL and NBA colleagues because they constitute a lower percentage of rosters. She spoke at Citi Field on Sunday to mark Jackie Robinson's day, the 75th anniversary of her father breaking that color barrier. While more than 200 NFL players protested racial inequalities last season by kneeling or sitting during the Star-Spangled Banner, Oakland Athletics catcher Bruce Maxwell was the only baseball player to take a knee. And what Sharon Robinson says was, I don't think they have much choice. They are in the minority, and where in football and basketball you have a group, and therefore you can take a group action. So players, if they speak out individually, they could be the only African-American player on their team, and it could be a difficult spot for them to be in. The percentage of black players from the United States and Canada on opening day active rosters rose to 8.4%, up from 7.7% last year, and its highest level since at least 2012. The percentage peaked at 19 in 1986, the Major League Baseball said last week, citing Mark Armour of the Society of American Baseball Research. So, that's a sport that, even though it's supposedly the American pastime, it is not one that we have made a whole lot of strides in terms of having high percentages of us involved in there. So the baseball commissioner Bud Selig retired Jackie Robinson's number 42 throughout the major leagues. In 1997, he made Jackie Robinson Day an annual event in 2004, and 5 years later, he started asking all players to wear number 42 each April 15th. So that was going on a lot in this past, that would have been yesterday. So as an educational consultant for League Baseball, Sharon Robinson attended the first pitch ceremony before the Mets and Milwaukee game with her mom, 95-year-old Rachel Robinson. So her mom is still living and says that there was a chilly afternoon on that particular game, and the game time temperature was 42 degrees. But she did bring up another interesting point, which is that some of the players that are in baseball, because they are such a minority, that they are finding other ways to do things. So she said that what she said is that Sharon Robinson said action among African-American players is more an individual undertaking. They do it around their involvement in communities themselves and talk about why that's important. Part of the protest with the NFL or the NBA is how do we funnel some of these proceeds from the games where we're helping to bring those proceeds and funnel them into the African-American community. So some of the baseball players do that through their own charities or their own work within the communities that they're playing in. So what she's arguing is that some of the baseball players, while they may not have the numbers to do those mass protests, they are finding other ways to make a contribution in the communities that they play in.
Yeah, and that's necessary. And one other thing, like a lot of times people say, okay, let's go ahead and do this. And a group of people will start out and then disappear. And that's tough. That's very tough. Because now the individual is sitting there and they're kind of like, well, dang, 15 of us started. And now it's 2 of us left. this doesn't work.
Yep. That's when they find out that there's oftentimes problems when those things happen. They're sitting there going like, wait a minute. We thought we were leading the protest, but apparently we're not.
Right. So
it's just crazy. But coming back to what was going on with Comey, he says in an extraordinary interview, former FBI Director James Comey called Donald Trump, quote unquote, morally unfit to be president, and said he said he believed it was possible the Russians were holding compromising personal information over the head of the nation's commander-in-chief. Excuse me. Says Comey's comments and his new book, A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership, are fueling a combustible moment in Washington that could become a constitutional crisis. At the White House, Trump has unleashed a barrage of angry tweets against Comey, calling him an untruthful slime ball, among other insults, amid reports he was posed to fire Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein for his role in the Russian inquiry Comey once headed. So, says never before in American history has current or former director of the FBI, the nation's principal law enforcement agency, publicly described the president in such a scathing manner. So he's definitely not having any nice words to say for that person that is sitting in charge up there in the White House in Pennsylvania Avenue. So he's got some very mean things to say about him. Says in an even more explosive comment, Comey said it would be less than honest to rule out the possibility that Trump had been compromised by one of the United States' primary foreign adversaries. It's hard to explain some things without at least leaving your mind open to that being a possibility, said Comey, who has served 3 presidents in 10-year posts. There's a non-zero possibility that the Russians have some sway over him that is rooted in his personal experiences. And I don't know whether that's the business about the activity in a Moscow hotel room or finances or something else. So there's definitely some possibilities that he might have been involved in some hanky-panky in a hotel back in 2013. So definitely some new kind of accusations are coming out. So it just seems like we got a bigger mess in the White House than we expected.
Wow. A lot of BS. Well, you got to figure this is the White House version of The Apprentice. You know,
oh, yeah.
And that's just what's going on. Every month, someone else leaves. And then they have all this stuff that they want to say. And then it goes on to folks like the surgeon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I'm like, dude, Ben Carson, what are you thinking? Like, some of the stuff you're saying, someone needs to really check you on these damn statements you're making.
Yeah, well, you know, Carson was making crazy statements when he was running for office. So, you know, now he's got a position, he'll continue making crazy statements because he's been given a little bit of authority, I guess, to make some statements that make absolutely no sense at all.
Not one damn bit of sense. Like, are you serious? Somebody needs to slap you in the mouth real quick.
Like, somebody just needs to go, wait a minute, what are you thinking about? And why are you even bothering to say such things?
Right. Like, are you serious? Wow, you're dumber than I thought you were.
And that's saying a lot because we thought that he was a little bit on the crazy side of the Jump Street, but apparently he's even crazier than we would give him credit for being.
Right. Get it together. Simple, man.
And apparently somebody else needs to get it together on the sports side is the Cleveland Cavaliers because they already lost game 1, which apparently they had all kinds of records for him winning this record and that record and not losing a first-round game, but they're already down 1, and they have another one coming up on Wednesday, so we'll see if they can bounce back. But it doesn't look like it's going to be an easy road in Cleveland this time around.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. What are they going to do this time? Blow up the buildings? Like, if he leaves, they go wild out and lose all kind of common sense? So let's get ready to have
they have substance that they're able to maintain some semblance of sanity. But, they're not the ones I'm worried about with common sense. The ones I'm worried about with common sense, and it's quite possible, it could even happen. It would be a miracle, but it's possible that it could happen. What would happen if the number 3 seed, the Philadelphia 76ers, actually managed to win the NBA playoffs and the championship? Because then you would have the city of Philly, and we already know that they've already got all kinds of interesting things going on in the city of Philly, but they would have the NFL, the NBA, and the NCAA champions all in their general area. So, does that mean the Phillies are going to get next? I mean, just think about how crazy that would be if it turns out that they are the winners of that much. And, they talk about people in the big cities and sometimes their egos and things of that nature. But imagine the egos of those in Philly if they have 3 or 4 national champions.
They'll tear the city down. The city is going to have to figure out how they're going to keep people from tearing up the property. Like, okay, they thought they had a good idea. We'll put Crisco on the light poles, and that should keep individuals from climbing the poles. Yeah, right. That didn't work too well, So what are you going to do? Because folks will start celebrating. And, I mean, the Philadelphia market has some of the most passionate fans that I see. Everybody will say, oh, my area has the best fans or my team has the better fans. But Philadelphia fans in all of their sports, man, they take it like so serious. You would think that when there's a loss, by the way the responses are, you're like, okay, are they going to lose something or something being taken away from them because the way they just acted, dang, that's kind of tough. So I don't know. It'd be nice to see because folks will say, trust the process. That's their motto, trust the process. And it'll be interesting to see if they were to bring that home, then that leaves the Major League Baseball with the pennant and the National Hockey League with the Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah, like I said, just imagine that. Because, like I said, they still have baseball to go because they have the Phillies. They have the Flyers in hockey. I'm not sure, but they probably even have a soccer squad.
Yes, they do, and it's the Philadelphia, I can't think of the name of it. I think it's Philadelphia United. I'm not exactly sure, but that's Major League Soccer, too. Yep. Wow.
Like I said, if one city brings that much championship, I don't know that we could stand it. And just think about those of us that have friends and or family that are from Philly. You're not going to be able to stand them at any sort of family reunion or friendship gathering because they're not going to let you hear the end of it.
Well, I had said it during the Super Bowl, round about the end of the third quarter. I said, if you are not from Philadelphia or the surrounding area, your best bet is to leave and go home now. Because it's about to turn into something else out there, and you don't want to get caught. You don't want to get caught in there.
So you were telling us that if that was going on, they just need to get the heck out of Dodge?
Yeah, it's time to go. You can listen to the rest of the game on the radio or catch the highlights on the news. But what you don't want to do is to stay there because the streets are about to get packed. You're not going to be able to drive through there. People are going to be going nuts. And people act real weird when they're extremely happy. So, you never know what might happen. And if you're stuck there and you're not from there, now you're kind of like, what do I do now? There's nothing you can really do except pray that you don't get, car window smashed or something like that by someone who's overly excited to the point where they're not thinking. They're not trying to even use any brain power that they have. They just want to go out, yell, scream, drink, and get into trouble, maybe. And that's like every